What's up, everybody? Yeah, the streamer record. Yep, no worries about that. Streamer record just fine. I don't know what this red filter over my camera is right now. This is weird. Interesting, weird red light. Hello, camera. Nope. Some sort of filter over my... Oops. There we go. That's not doing it anymore. Yeah, apparently I was streaming from hell today. How's everybody doing? Staying warm? It's still dumping snow out here at my house, so that's fun. But yeah. Hopefully you're all back home now and warm and watching the stream at this point. So, couple of things I want to cover today, okay? We are starting Project 2, right? So Project 2, if you were unaware, we're sculpting a stylized character bust. So I'll give you some examples of kind of what we're looking for, okay? So we're looking for, you know, some things that look something like this. Okay. So I'm looking for more along the lines, you know, you don't have to go so crazy insane on this, but, you know, something simple, kind of Pixar-esque, Disney Infinity-esque, right? So this is what we're looking for. Bust, meaning we're only going to do something like this. We're doing the head and kind of the shoulders. So something like this, right? We're not sculpting a whole character. So just the head, right? And I'm not going to put a ton of restrictions on what the character has to be, but I'm going to require that it be stylized, right? So I don't want you to do ultra realistic, you know, I don't want you to try to do Artorias from Dark Souls or something, right? I want you to try to do a stylized sculpt, okay? We're sticking in the stylized realm for this class. We did with the weapons, now we're kind of doing the same thing with this character bust, okay? And we're gonna follow a process by the great Shane Olson to try to accomplish this task. Okay, so we're gonna use a lot of his brushes and things. He was one of the character artists at Disney. He's a great 3D artist. If you haven't seen his stuff before, this is Shane Olson. Okay, and some of his works. Okay. He runs a workshop doing 3D character workshops, but we're gonna try to do something like this and follow along some of the similar workings and stylings that he does to create his characters. Okay, so stylized character 1. So right now, while you're listening to me talk, start flipping through some references. Okay, I've already picked one. I think I'm gonna do something. I was gonna do a Kratos one, but I think I'm gonna do something a little different. There's a concept artist by the name of, let's see if it's here. Yep, I got it from here. So they're concept artist of the name of Luigi Lucarelli, and he's awesome. He does a lot of really good stuff. If you look at his character works, very stylized, pretty cute stuff, right? Cool character designs, hyper stylized, right? And as I was scrolling through, I really kind of latched onto this little guy. I like this, and this is kind of what we're looking for. Simplistic, stylized character, right? I like this character, so this is the one I'm going to sculpt, I think. And then what we're doing in the process of doing this sculpt, right? We're going to take it from, yeah, you can go ahead and Google stylized character concept art. Yep, that would be fine. I just searched it in ArtStation to come up with this stuff. So the process that we're following, okay, is we are going to start in ZBrush. We're going to sculpt in ZBrush. We're going to get a high-res sculpt out of ZBrush, okay? We are then going to pull said high-res sculpt into Maya to retopologize said object, right? And get our low poly object, a clean, nice low poly object that then we are going to UV map and unwrap, and we will take that and put it into Substance Painter, bake our high poly mesh onto our low poly mesh, and then paint. Okay, so we're going through the whole gauntlet here of high poly sculpt, retopo, bake, paint, render. Okay, so that's the process that we're following for this project. So with that being said, find something stylized. That's all I'm looking for. Okay, so even if you want to do the same one I'm doing, that's fine. If you want to do another character of Luigi's, or if you want to find your own, but I'm asking that it be stylized. I don't want to see hyper realism for this project. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, stylized characters. Any questions about that, or comments or concerns? If not, the next thing that I want to show you, okay, is something that you should all go grab right now, okay? Shane Olson has his 3D character workshop, okay? And on his site, he has a set of ZBrush brushes that you can go and download. If you look at his Let's see, where do you grab his brushes from? So you can grab Shane's brushes right here. I'm going to be using these for this project. They're amazingly, they're great brushes. Okay, they work amazingly well. They function exactly how you would need them to for this type of assignment. Okay. The file that I sent to you guys all is from Shane's site. It's just a starting project file that just gives you a nice looking sphere to start sculpting on. Okay. So I would go grab Shane's brushes. Okay. Is 3D anime not stylized enough? I think an anime character could work. Shadow Nova. I think an anime character could work. You're gonna have to try to adapt them to 3D with this sort of Disney painterly, like Pixar-y style, right? Because we're not gonna do normally anime characters when they get put in video games get done with like a cell shading type of texture, right? But I think it could work. I've seen like Naruto and stuff in a stylized fashion. I've seen stuff like this, and I think that could work. So, this isn't the greatest I've seen, but I think it could work. Okay, Matthew. So here's the other thing. Okay, if you've been having issues, I'm gonna tell you this right now because the ZBrush thing is hit or miss. This is what I would suggest all of you go do. Okay. Is it not max on? What is the ZBrush? Oh, it's just 1x. So max on, purchase ZBrush. Okay. So if you want to go get ZBrush right now, if you go to school pricing, okay, and I don't want all of this. Okay, there we go. So students and teachers for Max on 1, which includes all of their products, ZBrush, Cinema 4D, like all of their stuff that they have, Forger, Red Giant, Redshift, ZBrush is part of this. Okay, this is $10 billed semi-annually. Okay, you pay $10 and you cancel it before school ends or class ends. You paid $10 for ZBrush. Getting the ZBrush thing to function properly through the university website it works, but I will attest to many students saying that it's been frustrating to try to get it to work. I would spend your $10 and not buy your Starbucks for a week or one day. I mean, a cup of coffee can cost you $10 nowadays. So don't buy your Starbucks tomorrow. Pay for Max on 1, the subscription here. You get a license to ZBrush and your problems are solved. Okay. It's $10. I'm telling you, I'll tell you that my license to ZBrush, I think I've explained it before, but my license to ZBrush was like $800 or something like that, $800 or $900 when I bought it. So this is, 100 times cheaper than that, and you only have to pay it once. And if you want to keep it, it's super cheap for the future down the road while you're still in the program. And if you don't, you just cancel it when class is over. $10. I think it's worth your time. Time is money, right? And wasting time trying to mess around, trying to get the stupid VPN to work is worth the $10. This is what I would suggest all of you in the class do. It's so cheap. It's kind of a no-brainer at this point. So I normally don't say go spend your money, but this is money well spent, and it saves you time. It saves you time, and you have a license, right? So this is what I would go do. Okay. I'll even kick you the link for the student teacher deal here. I'll throw it in the Discord. Go subscribe to that, download your ZBrush copy, and you'll be much happier for it. The downloaded ZBrush files. Good question. So if you want to throw your ZBrush brushes that you get from Shane into your ZBrush projects or into ZBrush, you need to navigate to ZBrush where you have it downloaded. So once you find that, it's usually under a Pixel Logic folder like this, and then ZBrush 2022, which is what I have. If you go down to, ZBrushes, you'll just drop them in here. And then they'll show up in your deal. So the other way, no, there's the other way. Just drop them in here and then they'll show up. These are just folders of brushes. And I can't remember if Shane's were in a folder or not, but the next one that I'm going to throw out here is the orbs brushes. These may or not be useful for everything that we're doing here, but I'm going to throw these into the Discord because they're good brushes to have. If I can zip this up. And give you these. I'm going to throw these on the Discord as well. Okay. These are also a really good set of brushes. These are Blizzard art brushes. Okay. So, while I'm in here, you can see them here. These are all the orbs brushes. I'm running Shane's interface, which you can also download if you want. That's more of a process to get that set up. The default user interface is great too. It's not a huge deal. This is just I went through a part of his course, and so he suggested that we used his interface. But anyways, it's not a huge deal. The stuff that we'll be doing, you can do with the normal ZBrush interface. All the hotkeys and things will respond the same. Things will just be in a different spot in some cases, and then I'll tell you if they're in a different spot and where to find them. So, okay. But this is the main file you can open up. But the orbs brushes, they should all show up in here, and then Shane's are 3D CW. I think they all have that deal with them. But the Blizzard brushes are super nice and work great for a lot of things too. They, like I said, they may not pertain to what we're doing for the character, but as a 3D artist, having nice brushes makes a huge difference, and these brushes make a huge difference. So, yeah. So what I want to do really quickly here is grab my concept art here. So I'm going to take a snipping tool of this. Okay. And then I'm going to open this up. So this is what I've got. I'm just going to put it on my other screen for now. I've got two screens, right? So I'll just run it off my other screen for right now. Would using a Marvel Snap card as your reference to your Busby stylus? No, that's funny. If it's a stylized version of it, I've been playing a crap ton of Marvel Snap because it's on my phone. It's a really fun game. I was watching videos of what decks to use and what cards to build and crap, so it's a fun game. It's very much reminds me of Hearthstone, and I was big into Hearthstone for a while too. So okay, yeah. So grab your. I'm not going to put this over here. I'm not going to try to put it in my file. I mean, I could, but I have a second screen, so I'm just going to drag and drop this over here. But we're going to work through a couple things here, okay? For this first assignment, what I'm looking for, right? This first phase, we're not going to get too in the weeds here. We are just going to do a block out of our character, right? We're just blocking this guy out. We're not trying to get into the really nitty-gritty details of what the character looks like, high res details, right? We're just blocking it out, building that silhouette, probably dynameshing our stuff together, doing some first pass details, but we're not finalizing this sculpt as of yet, right? So we're going to go through a couple things here. We're going to talk about dynameshing. We're going to talk about using the ZRemesher and how the ZRemesher functions, because we do want the ZRemesher to work properly so that we have clean, nice geometry while we're sculpting, right? Makes it a little bit easier when we need to subdivide as well. So we're going to work through this. We're going to work through blocking it out tonight, and we'll talk about using the ZRemesher and using Dynamesh as well, okay? But if you open up this file, right, and I'm going to assume that most of you have used ZBrush. If you haven't, that's a problem. But I'll talk about a little bit of hotkeys, right? If you don't remember how to move inside of ZBrush, I'll go over these quickly, right? Open up this base file here, but Alt and left mouse button is going to be your zoom. Alt and click in the open space is going to be your pan, and then clicking in the open space and rotating with your left mouse button is rotate. Okay, so Alt, left mouse button, pan, clicking in the open space is rotate, Alt, left mouse button, let go of Alt is zoom. This program is really designed to be used with a drawing tablet, so I'm going to plug mine in. So let me get my drawing tablet plugged in really quick here. Make sure this is functioning properly, which I think it is, which is all good. Okay, cool. So same deal with the pen. If you tap with your pen in the open space and rotate, Alt tap with your pen is pan. You put the brushes in ZBrush, but they haven't loaded in. Did you restart ZBrush after you did it? Did you restart ZBrush after you did it? They should be in there. Let's see. So if I scroll over to my program files, Pixel Logic, ZBrush, ZBrushes. They should be in there. exited and loaded it back in. Let's see. So I think you can also add them through here. Like you can load brushes through here. So try doing it through the brush menu itself and see if you can get them to show up there. So hit brush and then hit load brush. And then you should be able to click on. You should be able to click on like multiple brushes, I think. And then hit open, and they should hopefully all open. Try doing that and see if that works. So instead of doing it like dropping them in that folder, try opening them through the brush menu themselves under load brush. Get them through the light box. That's interesting. Try this way and see if that works. When you hit load brush, see if that will drop them in there for you. Okay, inside of here, the next step I'm going to go for here right now is I am going to take, under my subtool list here, I'm just going to delete Shane's ruler. I don't need this. And we'll start with the polysphere here. I'm also going to turn off these floors and things for right now. Okay. And when you're looking at this character, right, we can just kind of start blocking things out. But again, rotating in the open space, you'll notice your little head rotates, so you can tell when you're in a side view. If you hold shift, right, it will snap to orthographical view or directions, right? So if I start rotating, then hold shift, as I'm rotating, it will snap. So I can rotate really quickly around my object like that, which makes it nice, right? Just loads the one I can use. Interesting. Seeing if I can figure out why that's not working. Interesting. I think if you get Shane's brushes, I think it tells you how to do it specifically. Let me do this here. Let's see. Yeah, so you go to, oh, maybe it's in brush presets. Sorry, I might have told you the wrong folder. Under Z startup, brush presets. I think this is where they need to go. Sorry about that. Wrong folder. Copy and paste them into brush presets. So ZBrush 2022, Z startup, brush presets. That's where I have them all copied. So I have all those orbs and then all of the 3D character workshop brushes pasted in there. Okay. Sorry about that. Wrong folder. But that's where they need to go. Okay. So any other questions? Is anybody else having a problem getting the stuff in there? Hopefully that should work. Then restart ZBrush after you do that, and hopefully that will work this time. Okay. Now that we're here, I'm going to just kind of start sculpting, okay? So I'm using my Move Topology brush. So if I hit B and then hit MT on my keyboard, that's Move Topology. What Move Topology does is it just kind of moves the clay around, right? So I'm just starting to kind of sculpt a little bit here and there based off of my reference, right? I'm just looking at the front of my reference here. I'm also going to start trying to build a jaw here. So I think it's Control Alt Drag. Or is it Control, is it Alt Drag? There's a way to duplicate if you, is it Shift? Alt Shift? Nope. Nope. Can't remember what the hotkey is to duplicate there. Because you can just click and drag. I think you have to be in the move tool though, maybe. Yeah, okay. That's what it is. So you need to be in the move tool. So if you hit W, if you hit Control and drag, it will duplicate what you're working on, right? And I'm going to build kind of the lower jaw here of my character a little bit. Yes, right? So intuitive. Shadow. That didn't work. I'm not sure at that point. The brushes should be in there now. That's where mine are at, and it's loaded in and should be working. They should be showing up in the brush presets now. You might need to initialize ZBrush. So under preferences, hit initialize ZBrush. Delete the ones that you copied into the other folder, into the brushes folder. Delete those out. Re-delete them out of the brush presets, recopy them back in, and then restart ZBrush and see if that works. I'm sorry. That's interesting. I'm not sure why they're not working. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of build the lower jaw here. Kind of looking at my character, right? Let's try to do this here. So he's got this kind of unique looking face, right? Where he kind of almost looks like a monkey a little bit, right? He's got this really big lower jaw here. But I think I might, before I sculpt this, I might duplicate the round one of this first. So I'll hold Alt or Control and drag this like this. And we'll look through here. Okay. So still trying to just see how this face looks a little bit. Okay. Now I'm back in Move Topo again. And I can just move these around. I'm not sure what's going on with those. That should be the process to make that function properly. I don't know why that's giving you such a hard time. Okay. So we've got these two spheres kind of living together now, right? There we go. That's a little easier to see what's going on now. So, this is a pretty low poly sphere right now. I haven't subdivided or anything quite yet, right? So I can kind of see what it looks like if I turn on my dynamic subdivisions, right? See what it would look like a little more smoothed. But we're still working through just kind of getting the main shape of this character, right? The next brush I'm going to kind of use here is another one of Shane's brushes here, which is under the 3D CW IMM brush. These are just different meshes that you can just draw with on here. They're pretty helpful and nice brushes to use. It just gives you a couple different quad spheres that you can draw with. Gives you a cube, a cylinder that doesn't have a bunch of subdivisions to it, so that you can scale and move those cylinders. It gives you this appendage one that's nice for doing like hands. It's nice for drawing in a neck too. So I'm going to get my character's neck in here, neck and shoulders, so I can kind of get some idea of what's going on here. So I'm going to flip this all the way around, I think, and bring this down. Just going to try to get neck in here. Again, just kind of check my reference. But it's kind of this elongated mesh, elongated sphere. It's just nice for quick block out stuff. So like I said, we're just working through blockouts. So I'm going to drag another one in here as well. If it'll. Okay, cool. So now I can draw a sphere in here too. Like I said, I'm just trying to build in shoulders and neck right now. Just trying to block this out. And then I can jump back to my topology brush. Kind of use this to help sculpt. It's kind of hard to see my character's neck, right? But I can tell it's, you know, I can kind of tell the length of it based off of the little scarf he has on. And then I'm going to use another tool here called the clip curve tool. And what this does is it's going to let me clip this off. So I just hold Control Shift and then click and drag from left to right, and it clips, kind of chops off the mesh there. And then I can smooth out this a little bit over here. But right, we're building head, neck, shoulder area, right? So we've got our neck. You can kind of keep sculpting some of these spots a little bit more. Okay. That's feeling pretty good as of right now. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, right, is start adding in some more features here. Need to get a nose in there, some ears, right? We're just blocking some of these really easy low-hanging fruit shapes out at first, right? So let's get, you know, some ears, nose in here too. So that would be pretty easy with that same Shane Olsen brush again. That's 3D CW1. We'll drop in a lower poly sphere here for this. Let's drop that sphere right there for now. We'll squash it down. You can bring that in. Take a look at my reference here, just kind of see where that sits on his face a little bit. Okay. We can kind of sculpt this up a little bit. Okay. Something like this, right? That's getting pretty good. Let's drop some ears in here too. But really quickly, we've started to put together a pretty decent looking shape and silhouette, right? So, and we've only used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects, right? So we're kind of blocking this. This is what I'm looking for, right? We're blocking these shapes out in order to start, you know, visualizing our reference, right? Okay. But I'm liking so far how this is looking, okay? Same thing here. I'm going to grab another one of these tools. We'll just do another sphere for the ears over here. We'll try to draw these in. He's got pretty big ears. So let's check the reference. Kind of square. They're almost squares if you look at them, right? So we'll have to do a little bit of work with them. But they're fairly large. Sit kind of low on his head. Something like that, I think. And then we're going to have to work with these a little bit. Use our Move Topo tool a little bit here. they could even be bigger than this. Okay. Another one of Shane's really nice brushes here is the detail brush here. He also has the pinch brush that is really nice, where you can pinch things in, or if you hold Alt, it will do the opposite, right? But the detail brush allows you to kind of push things in, which is really nice. So we can kind of add some of those details to the ears. Okay. Next thing I kind of want to look at is getting a little bit of an eye indent in here. So I'm going to use, I think I'll just use the normal standard brush to do this, but and if you hit Alt, you can kind of start to cave in a little bit of that. I don't want to do too much just quite yet, but just kind of get the idea of where those are going to be. And then we can use some more of this pinch brush, which is nice, and get some of these other details in really quick. No, that's too much. His brows are pretty low, so I'm just trying to imagine where those are going a little bit. I'll kind of move some of this down a little bit around here. Okay. Just kind of narrowing in that nose area a little bit there. So that'll be good. The next step is to take a look at the mouth too. Mouths are a little weird. So it's like we need to just kind of build a hole for this, but that's once we Dynamesh it, we can do that. But let's work on Dynameshing, and then we'll run this through the ZRemesher. At this point, that's kind of what I'm looking at, right? This is my sort of base model that I can then start continuing my sculpt with, right? I've done sort of simple block out shapes for this. Now I can run it through the Dynamesh and then the ZRemesher. What ZRemesher does is it tries to retopologize based off of what it can see. It's gotten a lot better over the years, so we'll run it through there really quick. But at this point, before we start doing some of this more destructive workflow that we're working through right now, right? I'm gonna save. So let's file save this as. I'm gonna call this my 3D character. 3D. Okay. And then what we can do is Dynamesh this together. We could also subdivide at this point too, and try to subdivide this to a higher subdivision level. Make this look a little nicer, right? You could go through and do a little bit more sculpting too, if you wanted, with that detail. I kind of want to check around the ear area here and just see if I'm getting the right idea. Something like this. Right, we're getting something like that in those ears. And they're very square, so I'm just trying to make sure I get this kind of square look to what's happening here. What's the key for switching between high and low subdivisions? You can go to geometry here. And if you want to divide or subdivide, it's under geometry and then subdivide right here. And then when you subdivide, it's going to give you all your division levels, right? And then you can slide between all these different division levels that you have, right? So we subdivided up before, and then we're going to Dynamesh this. And then we're going to run the ZRemesher on this. So, but I was just kind of messing with the ears a little bit before. Okay. Okay. All right. So just making sure I'm getting everybody's questions. I think I got everybody's stuff. So from here, what I'm going to do next is run my Dynamesh. So let's save one more time. We'll file save this as 02. and then we'll run the Dynamesh. I would just suggest saving before Dynameshing, okay? So run the Dynamesh. I'm going to bump that Dynamesh resolution up to 512 here. And then I'm going to hit Dynamesh. And I'm going to hit no on this. And it should have Dynameshed our stuff together, which it did. So the next sort of step here is, if you look, it kind of left these stitch marks everywhere, and that's okay. We can come through and kind of smooth these out everywhere. Not a huge deal. It just kind of leaves the sections that you had in there. But if you come through with your smooth, you should be able to smooth them out relatively easily. Just clean up those areas where that Dynamesh combined the two objects together. So we can run it around the nose here too. We're just smoothing this out. Cleaning that up so it looks nice. And then we're going to run a couple steps from here to run the ZRemesher, because right now this is a pretty high polygon mesh, right? 2 million pols. So we can run a ZRemesher on this. You could also save out at this point too if you wanted. You've got a pretty high polygon mesh. Some things to note though, we do want to try and build a mouth from this point, right? So sometimes it's nice to like just build an opening for the mouth, right? So you just do something like this, where you mask out the mouth right here. You could even do it with a smaller brush, but you mask out a mouth, and then you invert your mask by holding Control and clicking in the open space, and then you can hit W and just kind of push this back in. We're just trying to build an opening for the mouth, okay? And then we'll build lips and things out of that. So I just did that with a mask, okay? Then you can click and drag in the open space. You can kind of smooth this out if you want a little bit too. You could smooth out inside there a little bit if you want to as well. But this, we just want it to grab and topo around these areas, right? And what the ZRemesher does is it grabs and tries to find the flow of the object where there's a big change, right? So it's going to be worth building in our eye sockets now at this point too, with a more, you know, a lot more, be a little bit harsher with it. So it's almost like we're kind of making it look a little bit silly before we make it look nice, right? So we're running the ZRemesher to get it to grab all of the different topology areas, right? We're sculpting this character. We're going to grab just the standard brush, I think is fine. And I'm just going to bump this up, and I'm going to try to build some eye sockets in here. So again, just kind of checking my reference. He has huge eyes, right? So we'll try to build out some eye sockets here. And I'm just going to try to sculpt them into the head a little bit. And they might look a little silly right now, and that's okay. But then I can kind of use my topo brush here a little bit too. but my character has these massive eyes, right? So, and then I'll run with that detail brush from Shane again here. And I'm just going to try to grab kind of the eyebrow area too. So if I can get that to maybe even pinch too. I don't know. Let's try with the pinch instead. Might need a little bit more intense of a pinch. Oh, not that intense. Easy. Maybe a smaller brush too. But if I can get the kind of eyebrow space here. And then also try to get the eye socket area. It's going to look weird for a minute until we run this remesher around this area. And I want it to grab around the ears too. Kind of wrap underneath them. Okay. All right. Now the question is if it's going to grab the, if the remesher is going to do a decent job with this. So I'm going to save this out as a high poly mesh. Just save this every time I'm doing these sort of destructive workflows, right? I'm just going to save. So this looks a little funny, right? He kind of looks a little silly right now. But we're going to go ahead and grab. We're going to go File, Save As. We'll save this out as number 3. And we can call this like high res or something. And then we can run our ZRemesher here, okay? So if we keep the adaptive size and curve strength at 50, target polygon counts, I'm going to drop it down to 2, I think. Okay. And then we can run the ZRemesher on this and kind of see what it does. See if it picks up all the areas. We want to try to get the right topology flow here. It actually looks pretty good on the first go. Let's see. Did a decent job with the topo flow, right? We get these rings around the eyes, which is good. We get it rings around the mouth, around the nose, up around the back of the ear. That did a pretty good job. You could run the mesher again. It did a decent job around the mouth too. And now we're back down to like 5,000 polys, which is really nice, right? So we're back down to a pretty low poly sculpt, and we can keep working from here. But this is good, right? Sometimes it doesn't work that nice on the first go, so you can mess with that as much as you'd like, right? See how much or how little you want to mess with that ZRemesher. You can keep running it over and over again if you want. I'm going to save this one too. File, Save As. Did a really good job the first time. So let's go here. I'm going to go 04 for this. Just kind of saving every individual step out, right? So we ran our ZRemesher. Now we're back to a low poly mesh with our character, right? With some pretty decent topology, and we can keep sculpting from here. And you could bump up your subdivision level a little bit if you want, right? And continue sculpting. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close the mouth a little bit here too. So he doesn't need to have this blank open mouth stare anymore. The inflate tool can be good to close mouths. Not so intense. I'm going to grab that crease brush, I think. Just pull back the mouth a little bit. From the side too, it's good to check kind of what's going on. Okay. Started getting our mouth a little bit together there. Like I said, I'm not trying to get into the crazy high level details at this point, right? We've been live longer for 18 minutes, right, chat? This didn't cut off, right? We didn't lose the stream. I feel like it's been like an hour and 18 minutes, right? Hopefully I didn't lose you guys at some point. Okay, good. My Streamlabs is just saying that we've only been live for 18 minutes, so that's weird. Okay, good. Hopefully, I'm glad that's good. I didn't lose you guys, so. Okay, the next thing I want to do is add in the eyes here. So let's throw in some eyes. Okay. We're going to use that same brush again. grab a more we'll throw in some eyes here. I'm going to make these big. And then we'll move them into the head. They may not need to be that big. Okay. All right, now we've got eyes in. Good. Okay, so that's feeling pretty good. Just kind of check in against a reference here. We could keep kind of sculpting a little bit more here, I think. We're kind of getting to the point where we could start really bumping up the subdivision level and going nuts with some stuff here. But it might be interesting to throw in some reference stuff for his hair too in a second. But let's just kind of clean up the overall sculpt and just try to push this even further, get it closer to the reference too. So we'll kind of mess with the eye shape a little bit too here. I'm going to split these out. So I'm going to go to my sub tool and go to split and do group split, I think. Let's hold on a second. Let's save really quick. File, save as. Let's do this as a 05 here. And we'll do a group split here. Okay, that's good. Because I just wanted to be able to adjust these. Bring them out a little bit. I may even redo these eyes because I think I'd rather, yeah, I think I'm going to reinsert these. Let's delete these real quick. I don't like how those are looking right now. Let's go back here, jump back into this sphere again. Let's drop some eyes in here again. Okay, I think that's good. Okay.
Why did we start so late? But you know we didn't. What? Why did we start so
Okay, I think I am liking where this is at right now. I do want to sculpt a little bit more here.
Why did we start so late? But you know we didn't. Why did we start
Okay. Cool. No questions from people yet. Good. Okay. So I think for the first assignment portion right here, if I wanted to, I could go through and drop in some stuff for his hair. But I think for this phase, if you can get to this point, I think this is a good stopping point for you guys. Okay. So if you can get to sort of this phase where you've sculpted a little bit, you've run your ZRemesher, you've blocked everything out, you're basically now at the point where you've got your blank canvas to start subdividing and really getting into the higher level detail on your mesh. I think if you can get to this point, this is a good place to call it for the assignment. So I'm going to take a couple screenshots of where we're at here. I'm going to throw a couple screenshots into the assignment. We'll call this example 2. Okay. Let's throw that in the assignment really quick. Let me throw my reference image in the assignment as well, so you guys can use that. Okay. That looks pretty good in here. Let's make sure we get an online submission with file uploads and save that. If your character does have those things on the shoulders, you can. I would say that's more the next phase where you're really finalizing your sculpt, right? So like for me, I'll put his little scarf in the next piece, right? And then his hair, I think, will be part of the next piece. But I've got this main phase sort of, he's blocked out, and I can start doing the eyebrows, more nitty-gritty details in the final sculpt, right? So this is kind of a first pass. If you want to take a shot at those things in the first pass, that's fine. But this is a pretty good level. You've blocked something out, you've got it sculpt, right? You ran your ZRemesher, you Dynameshed, you've added some details. It's the likeness is there, right? I think that's a good spot to hang your hat on. Okay. And then we can work on getting the next phase in the next class, right? So we'll finish up the whole sculpt next class, right? Do hair. That will take probably about an hour to do hair, get the eyebrows in there, build his little neck scarf piece, and then export him out, right? So that shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Let me make sure I saved this. That's saved and published. Okay. Cool. Let's do the word for today for you guys. Let's do let's see here. We'll just say Dynamesh is our word for today, okay? So your question or your answer for this week is Dynamesh. Let me make sure that's working too on the site. How do you import an image plane? There's a couple different ways to do it. Okay. You can go under document, and you can add in the front to back, or is it document or is it draw? In the draw tab here in front back, you can add a map here. And you can import your own custom map. So I could import my reference plane here and hit open. And that will bring that in like that for you. And then you can scale that down, I believe. So if you scale it down, so you can do something like that. I believe you can also offset it. So you could like offset it over here. And then it's there for you the whole time while you're sculpting, which is nice. Kind of different from the way ZBrush works, but I don't think that's a bad way to do it. So under draw and then front to back, you can add a map, right? Import your custom map, click on your image. That will drop it in, and then under that same draw tab, you can scale it up and down. So you could have something like this in your scene, so you can see what's going on. Pretty easy way to do it. And I think you can also change how transparent it is too. I thought you could, but maybe you can't. Scale modifiers. Oh yeah, frame opacity. Oh no, maybe that's just that's the grid opacity. I thought you could change the I don't know if you can change how opaque or how much opacity it has. Maybe you can. That's the frame opacity. Fill mode? Nope. I'm not sure. I don't know if you can change how much opacity there is on that, or if it just comes in with that level of opacity. But you can drop in an image plane like that. Okay. Map is grayed out. You can't click on it. Draw. Did you enable front to back? Under front and back, did you click on map 1? If Adia's still there, have Adia take a look at it. I know you're in the lab, and see if he can figure that out for you. I'm not sure why that would be grayed out. That's interesting. Okay, everybody. Shadow Nova, if you can't figure it out, hit me up on Discord and I can screen share with you and see if we can get it figured out, okay? Dia doesn't know, huh? I'll try to look it up, and then Shadow Nova, send me a DM in the Discord. I'll try to look it up here. I don't want to keep everybody waiting around on the stream, but I'll look it up, and then send me a DM on Discord, and I'll see if I can figure it out for you. Okay. Okay, everybody. The answer for this week was Dynamesh. If you missed it, if not, then I will see you all next week. Okay, and we'll keep rolling with our little sculpt here. All right. Hopefully it won't snow us out and we'll be in class next week. So I will see you guys then. Okay. Have a good one, everybody. See you later.